Hello, everyone. This is Harshal Desai. I welcome you all to a very unique and interesting program today that we are hosting, Rise with SAP Day. I, on behalf of Elets Technomedia Private Limited and SAP, welcome all the delegates who have joined us live and watching this program uh, from various locations and various places in the country. Rise with SAP Day uh, experience SAP ERP through RISE. This program is going to focus on empowering public sector undertakings with intelligent automated solutions. As we all know, the world as we knew it has been irrevocably changed with the rapid digital transformation of government operations and the private sector. To match up the pace, public sector undertakings need to give a boost to their functioning with the implementation of intelligent applications and technology to run automated digital operations for better outcomes. Rise with SAP brings together the critical intelligent solutions and services that enterprise like yours need for true business transformation in one package. A single offering that provide a path to make public sector undertakings intelligent enterprises independent of starting point or complexity. SAP and its entire ecosystem of partners will help you chart your journey on your terms. And we are very glad to inform that today we have been joined here by various experts from SAP. I will like to take a minute to introduce all the eminent people who have joined us today in this program. I welcome Mr. Raja Mishra, Director, Public Services, SAP. Welcome, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you. Thank you, Harshal.
Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to welcome our next key speaker for the program today, Mr. Pushkar Bhatt, Business Development Lead, SAP Digital Core, SAP India Subcontinent. Welcome, Mr. Pushkar Bhatt, to this unique and interesting program today.
Thank you, Harshal. It's a pleasure speaking with all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Our next key speaker for the program and expert for this program today is Mr. Suresh Palani, Senior Partner Solution Architect SAP from AWS. Welcome, Mr. Suresh Palani, to Rise with SAP Day program today.
Thank you, Harshal.
Thank you. We with this now, I would like to request. I would like to hand over this program. I'd like to request Mr. Raja Mishra. Mr. Raja Mishra, as I introduce you, is Director Public Services at SAP. And after this introduction, now I hand over this virtual dais to Mr. Raja Mishra for interacting. They all are going to interact with you all today on this wonderful platform. Over to you, Mr. Raja Mishra.
Thank you, Harshal. Thank you so much. That was a great context setting. And good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking out time to join this session today. Many of you might be knowing that this is 25th year of SAP in India. And it's a pride moment for all of us, correct? To be part of ERP journey of this country as a whole, where like many part of the world, SAP has now become synonymous to ERP. My name is Raja Mishra, as Harshal introduced. I have been working with SAP since last a decade now, and I have been closely associated alongside some of the major public sector entities in the country while addressing their aspirations to automate their business processes. You all will appreciate that the challenges of a growing business, correct, have changed over a period of time to a great extent. Take an example that even governments, including the government of India, today are focused towards making organizations like yours more nimble, more, let's say, responsive to the ever-changing needs of the realities of the ground, correct? GST, suddenly, you see so many interventions from the automation would be required. So far, so many things were being able to manage annually through Excel sheets and all. But suddenly, you are in a need or look out for a solution, an automation solution, which will help you to, go through all these things. And as it happens, dear customers, you are strained, correct, to focus on your own core business rather than managing the software applications, managing the hardware applications, and all those associated complexities around that. I have heard personally from many chairmen and CMDs and CEOs who were very blunt and categorical in telling that SAP should manage SAP. That they want their core team executives who are the brightest of the lot, who are pulled into ERP implementations and core teams. They want them to be freed and to be focusing on their core business rather than managing, the other side of the business, correct, which is infrastructure, IT, and all those things. Some of your organizations, you will appreciate this, some of your organizations have 50 employees, 100 employees, 200 employees. How would you manage to make 20 people free to get involved into managing SAP and the associated hardware, infrastructure? How would you really look at the situations wherein you have a separate support vendor, you have a separate hardware vendor, and then you are possibly managing day in and day out on who is responsible for what kind of problems, correct? Many of you are looking for solutions which are flexible, which are easy to implement, correct? Which would not require you to invest a lot of time and effort and money on day one itself. You can grow as you grow, correct? So that is the idea. And with those feedbacks which have come to SAP has been very actively working on those feedbacks. And as an outcome to that feedback, SAP has now come out with a solution that we are calling it as Rise with SAP. So as Harshal introduced, Pushkar, my colleague, is closely associated with the concept of this product, with the evolution of this product, and how we should bring this product to the market, to you all. And he will be primarily taking you up and enlightening all of us about this product as we go forward. So without much ado, I think I will take a pause. I will request Pushkar to take over. But once again, I will like to thank you. And I will hope that you find this session useful and informative. So with that, over to you, Pushkar.
Thanks a lot, Raja. Raja, just let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Sure. Thank you. So thanks everyone, and warm welcome to all of you. I'm not going to go ahead and take a lot of the time in terms of a formal introduction. My name is Pushkar Bhatt. I am part of SAP for over a decade now, and I have been predominantly focused on, transiting our customers from ECC to S/4HANA, and now the evolution of their journey into our cloud offerings. It is my pleasure to go ahead and speak to you about Rise with SAP. SAP's mechanism of, helping you on your journey to become an intelligent enterprise. So I think one thing that came out, I was in a similar kind of a webinar a few weeks ago, and I came across a very interesting organization. They are an Indian, organization focused in a crucial area of solar power generation. And there was one thing which was very unique about them. I asked them when were they founded, and they said we were founded right at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. So in fact, they started their company during the pandemic. They were born in the pandemic, and they did their ERP adoption and ERP rollout during the pandemic without people meeting each other. And then the next logical question that comes up is, how did they go about doing it? And they were amongst the first customers of ours who adopted Rise with SAP, and the specific reason was that they wanted to become an highly intelligent, data-driven, automation-focused, process-driven organization, but they could not do this by putting a physical team in one place. They had to do it with everything being in the cloud, a large part of it being managed by SAP for them, and they focusing on what was core to their business, that is the functional areas. And so what we all say is that the journey kickstarts from all starting points. You could be a customer who is currently, running a homegrown application. You could be a customer who was born during the pandemic where everyone joined in the organization virtually, or you could be an organization that is coming out of the shadows of its parent and now aspiring to have its own ERP. What SAP has really gone ahead and done for all of you is to put in place a framework which will help you to go ahead and implement the best of the processes that SAP has in the context of your business and do it in a manner that your business process as well as the stakeholders are right at the center, rather than the entire song and dance of acquiring servers, commissioning them, putting in place the application, trying to manage it, taking backups, doing technical upgrades, so on and so forth. So what does right with SAP actually entail? This is a question that has been coming to us multiple times from multiple customers. And we say it's a package. It's essentially a mechanism by which we can take you from where you are, irrespective of your size, shape, or segment, and help you achieve your outcome, that is the business goal that you set of becoming an intelligent enterprise. And it all starts off with SAP's long acknowledged best practices explorer. What does this solution essentially do? It goes ahead and provides pre-packaged content, and this particular best practice is also backed by the digital discovery assessment. So it asks you a set of questions, and based on those questions, you are able to go ahead and say as to what all should be within the scope of your implementation. It will ask you, for example, is inventory management something that is critical to you? How are you going ahead and currently doing your procure to pay? Are you able to go ahead and automate your accounts payable? Is manufacturing a critical area for you? Are you going ahead and having effective, raw materials management, finished goods management, and WIP? Are you able to go ahead and run your manufacturing resource planning and execution? These are very simple business questions that get asked. And these in turn go ahead and tell you that what should be the scope that you need to go ahead and have as you go ahead and adopt the ERP. The second lever that actually comes in over here are the best practices itself, and they help you design your to-be processes, keeping in line the learnings that SAP has had within India from the best of Indian customers over the last 25 years. And then, as Raja mentioned, SAP has been focused on India for close to about 2 decades now. And so one of the things that we've gone ahead and done is put in a fair amount of effort in terms of going and ensuring that we are not only complying with India's, specific business requirements, but also the legal requirements that are there. So localization, the legal entities, as well as integration with SAP, non-SAP, and government platforms is also something that we start going and putting in place in terms of the scope itself. The best practices basically become the backbone of everything that you start off with. And why is this important? You are a new customer to SAP. You do not know each and every nuts and bolts of this particular system. So therefore, it is critical that you have a starting point. What SAP has gone ahead and done is created well-defined documents as well as financial or other business processes for a lot of different areas. It could be, areas around accounting and financial close, or it could be in terms of delivery and positioning. SAP goes ahead and puts all of those best practices right at your disposal so that you can go ahead and access them, understand them, assess how your organization wants to design its processes, modify those best practices to suit your specific requirements, and then most important, put these into execution or realize these best practices by implementing them as a part of your ERP itself. And SAP has got a whole bunch of these best practices which are easily accessible to our customers. In addition to that, as I mentioned, you have the sample, the digital discovery assessment. It asks you simple business questions, and then based on a yes or a no answer, helps you go ahead and define what the scope of your implementation should be. And this in turn becomes sort of the template, correct, that you can actually go ahead and hand over as a scope document to your partners, asking them that, this is what we believe is critical to us. Can you now tell us, how long will it take for you to go ahead and configure this environment? But more important, how quickly can you go ahead and roll that out? So all of these things definitely go ahead and help. And as I mentioned, these two critical reports basically become part of your detailed scope and help you go ahead and put in place not only the scope of your implementation, but they also go ahead and help you define what would be the business benefits that will come out of it, the strategic benefits that will come out of it, technical benefits, as well as the operational benefits. So in many which ways, what SAP is going ahead and doing is putting in place a mechanism by which our customers can use ready to consume content as well as processes by which they can articulate and create their internal, scope as well as the business case for rolling out their ERP initiatives. In addition to that, SAP has got an extremely comprehensive suite as far as the business processes are concerned. We start off with things, areas of I would say, scope around procurement, around sales, supply chain, manufacturing, research and development, finance, service, asset management, cross-functional areas, as well as industrial, industry-specific capabilities. And if you wish to go ahead and pick and choose certain specific areas as a starting point, you have the flexibility of doing that, or you can go ahead and say that we need to go ahead and implement, all of the core modules of ERP, and therefore have your finance, procurement, sales, service, supply chain, manufacturing, asset management, so on and so forth as a part of your initial rollout. So one solution which goes ahead and not only helps you define your scope, it also helps you define the benefits that you will get. It's also comprehensive enough to go ahead and provide you an end-to-end wall-to-wall coverage of your business processes that you need to go ahead and automate. So what does RISE with SAP go ahead and deliver to you? It starts off beyond defining the scope with the business process design. So we provide you with tools which will in effect allow you to bring in or import our best practices and then use these best practices to modify the scope, modify the processes in such a way that you are able to go ahead and design your to-be processes and do this in a mechanism or a manner that is transparent to all stakeholders, so that process stakeholders can come together, collaborate over a single platform, understand the scope and the design of the process, comment on what will work, what will not work, and ask for the necessary clarifications or changes where required. In addition to the business process design, SAP also brings in SAP S/4HANA Cloud in a subscription model to all of our customers. Now, what does that subscription model entail? It entails, the software licenses, the support, the infrastructure and the managed services that are required around it, but it also includes a business technology platform to help you extend and modify the core ERP, or for that matter, additional products around networks that go ahead and help you, collaborate around, across your business boundaries. Now, what specifically does your business technology platform deliver? It delivers close to about 1,800 pre-built integrations. It delivers about 160 connectors with SAP and third-party applications. It involves and brings in over 100 pre-built analytical packages which allow you to dice and slice the data that is sitting within your core ERP and go ahead and bring out logical insights out of that. More important, it allows you to go ahead and extend the core ERP while keeping the ERP itself in a very clean way. And this helps you to go ahead and upgrade your ERP solutions on a periodic basis with minimal impact and minimal cost. Most important, BTP has got an extremely rich platform ecosystem of over 15,000 partners across 25 industries. And these partners have gone ahead and created ready to consume solutions. It is like, picking up an app from your Google App Play Store or the Apple App Store and then using it to your benefit. A similar app store exists even for the BTP. And all of these further, come to you, capabilities come to you as cloud credits, which are free and which are bundled as a part of your, Rise with SAP subscription. If you go over and above the free credits that you go ahead and receive, there is a possibility of going ahead and paying upfront or paying as you go. But there are different mechanisms by which you can go ahead and implement and consume these services. Now, besides the business technology platform, SAP also brings in the SAP Business Networks. And these are going ahead and helping us collaborate across 3 dimensions, which most of our customers told us are critical. This is around, bringing in smart devices, bringing in the maintenance providers, suppliers, retailers, contract manufacturers, logistics providers, consumers or customers, as well as financial institutions into your organization so that you can go ahead and communicate and collaborate with them in a much better way. And SAP really goes ahead and powers this in a really big way across the globe, because today SAP helps manage and run the largest single business network across the globe with an overall transaction volume of close to $4 trillion. Close to 77% of world transaction revenue is processed via the SAP system. And today there are over 440,000 customers that we are going ahead and servicing through this particular network, across 180 countries. Most important, close to 92% of Forbes Global 200 company list are again part of this particular network, and 97% of the greenest companies, correct? That is another goal that has been put in place by our leadership, be it our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, or other business leaders. There is a massive focus on going green, and the business network also is enabling our customers to do their sourcing in such a way that they are able to go ahead and minimize their carbon footprint. Beyond that, what SAP has also gone ahead and done is brought in the capability to utilize part of these business networks to the benefit of our customers who are coming on Rise with SAP. And this happens in 3 ways. The first area where our customers told us that they required to collaborate was in terms of the sourcing of their goods and services. And we have brought in the Ariba Digital Supplier Network, which today enables, virtual it's an e-platform for going ahead and doing all of your procurement collaboration. So we can onboard suppliers onto it, and you can go ahead and collaborate with them for all of your sourcing requirements with zero paper out over there. The second aspect that is there is the make and operate part. And over here again, SAP brings in the capability to collaborate for all of our customers with their hardware OEMs. And this, I'm talking about people who go ahead and provide for us our transformers, our heavy equipment and machinery, which are today becoming more and more IoT based. So we can have the capability of going ahead and creating digital twins of these, assets, going ahead and tapping into the sensor data coming in from these assets, giving you the health status of these assets, but more important, communicating any kind of an issue or problem back to the suppliers of this particular asset so that they are able to advise you on remedial action. And the third area that we are focused on is going ahead and ensuring that your logistic networks are smoothened out. And this again is a collaboration capability for you to go ahead and consume when it comes to coordinating with your shippers, your transporters, or your logistic service providers. Besides these three network capabilities that SAP goes ahead and brings in, we also have, an extremely rich layer which is available to IT to go ahead and manage these applications. And what does this cloud ALM capability do? It goes ahead and helps you manage, and activate various kinds of content or workflows within your organization to control the configurations of your ERP setup itself, speed up your testing, improve your quality, ensure business continuity is happening. So it analyzes risks, detects any problems and brings them to your notice, and helps you to go ahead and accelerate the problem resolution itself. And last but not the least, it helps reduce the cost of implementation and operations, thereby helping you reduce your total cost of ownership. Now, ALM is a critical part of the overall operating framework. But what SAP has also gone ahead and done is brought in mechanisms by which you can go ahead and access all of your cloud capabilities in a very simple way. Depending upon your role, there is a single SAP Launchpad service that is available today by which a user can go across, and based on his user profile, he will go ahead and get all of the various different shortcuts, styles that are required to access and carry out the activities that he needs. And this is all available through one single simplified URL, which SAP provides and bundles into its SAP RISE offering. And then last but not the least, there is the infrastructure and operations. This is extremely critical for a lot of our customers. Today, what happens is that our customers, when they start off their journeys, they struggle with going ahead and getting the right kind of infrastructure. They try and, they struggle with getting the right kind of partners. More important, not only to implement the solution, but also to keep the operations on an ongoing basis. And when Raja mentioned that, public sector executives told us that SAP needs to run SAP, there was a reason for that. They want to free up their own resources to focus on the business outcomes rather than they focusing on, the IT activities that are there. Now, what SAP is going ahead and doing, working closely with our partners like AWS, is to really go ahead and create strong foundations whereby we deliver an extremely reliable, secure, and resilient infrastructure to our customers, which is hosted within the Indian boundaries, a capability to go ahead and scale the infrastructure as you grow. So effectively, you can start really, really small and then grow as your business grows. But more important, SAP is ensuring that our customers are able to go ahead and, have all of their problems related to operations sorted by SAP. So you don't need to worry about whether the patch was applied. You don't need to worry about whether your antivirus signatures are updated. You don't need to worry about whether intrusion prevention and detection systems are in place, or security audits have been completed, or the system databases have been properly tuned or not. SAP takes complete and full responsibility for that, and we deliver to you a single point of contact when it comes to the operations of your core ERP, and we go ahead and sign up on a 99.7% uptime SLA, which again we are able to go ahead and deliver because partners like AWS will be speaking, very soon after me, are able to go ahead and deliver highly resilient infrastructure and network and other services to us as a part of the underlying layer. Now, besides the operations, I think SAP also, puts in place appropriate mechanisms to go ahead and track how our customers are doing in terms of their adoption itself. And this again becomes critical because when it is a new customer, it is important that there is a guiding hand to go ahead and explain or provide the necessary guidance to the customer as the case may be or as the situation arises. And that is again where we have mechanisms by which we go ahead and monitor the projects. We go ahead and see how the partners are going ahead and delivering on that on a proactive basis. I usually spend about 2 hours a week going through the details of the various customer implementations on an ongoing basis. And we intervene as and when we go ahead and see any kind of issues or red flags. An important area when it comes to adopting any new technology or bringing about a change is knowing the capabilities of that solution. And what SAP has also done as a part of the RISE framework is brought in the capabilities around the learning hub itself. And this in turn means that we go ahead and provide a digital platform whereby your power users can go ahead and understand, learn the capabilities at their own speed, at their own time, and more important, do help you with continuous process improvement or engage in continuous functional updates as the case may be within your environment. So in order to go ahead and wrap it up, the last and most important thing is that you go live, but after that it is also a circle of continuous improvement. So SAP again goes ahead and brings in capabilities around something that is known as process insight. This requires some additional licenses, but what it does is that it monitors how your processes are behaving on an ongoing basis, and it gives you insights into where you need to go ahead and intervene and bring about automation or other process simplification so that the business process is improved in its efficiency and reliability and resilience on an ongoing basis. So if I was to go ahead and sort of conclude, what does SAP go ahead and deliver with RISE with SAP? I would go ahead and say that we deliver one single SLA. We deliver the next generation of industry applications. We deliver collaborative networks so that you can collaborate with your partners in a reliable and secure manner. We deliver to you an standard-based, product which is built on openness and modularity. So you can start with a single module and then scale up, or you can take a full big bang approach of going and implementing the entire, core capabilities. We deliver all of this in a cloud subscription, okay, so that it is easy for you to go ahead and get started and consume that. Infrastructure options again are available, which means that we go ahead and provide to our customers the ability to start off small and increase in size, or select the hyperscaler that works best with them. We bring in process insights, we provide the right transformation tools, but most important, we go ahead and bring in the line of business value, which is very critical for you to go ahead and run your operations or automate your operations and run them in the most efficient possible manner in the given circumstances. With that, what I would like to go ahead and say is that my email ID and other details are there on this particular slide. My name is Pushkar Bhatt. You can reach me at pushkar.bhat@sap.com. In case you've got any questions or queries, feel free to reach out to me. And with that, I will come to an end of my presentation. And let me now go ahead and invite my colleague, Rajesh. Uh, you know, uh, so Suresh is there from AWS, and they have been kind enough to partner with us to talk about how SAP and AWS are working together to go ahead and deliver the next generation of S/4HANA cloud solutions. So Suresh, I hand over the forum to you. Warm welcome, and appreciate if you can share your thoughts with this audience.
Thank you, Pushkar. Let me share my screen. Please let me know if you're able to see. Is my screen visible?
Not yet, Mr. Suresh Palani.
Oh. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, you're audible. We just can't see your screen as yet, Suresh.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
now, yes.
It's coming up now.
Yep.
Is it coming?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry about it.
Yes, perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
So good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to all of you. And my name is Suresh Palani. I'm from the Specialist Solution Architect team dedicated to SAP for public sector customers in India. I have around 15 years of experience as an SAP basis architect with multiple implementations, upgrades, migrations with different OS and DB combinations. And in my current role, I help customers in their cloud journey to AWS for SAP workloads deployment. And that's the short summary about me. Apologies for not being on camera. I have a very bad bandwidth today, so apologies for it. And without any further delay, let's get started. In the next 25 minutes, we are going to see why customers should choose AWS as the preferred hyperscaler for their RISE engagements. And we will start with the overview of AWS experience on hosting SAP workloads and the relationship with SAP, followed by our core discussion topic for the day, and other additional benefits you as a customer will get from AWS environment. So the entire context of this slide is to give you some data points about how we have innovated specifically for SAP on our cloud over the last 13 years and work backwards from our customers' feedback. And in this entire slide, you will continue to hear me saying the word first. I could spend 20 minutes on this slide alone, backing up each one of these statements. But in the interest of time, let me read them off rapid fire so we can get to the heart of the content. So we are the first cloud to support SAP as a customer, and first to certify infrastructure for SAP production workloads, and the first to have SAP on cloud deployment automation, and the first provider to have a purpose-built infrastructure for HANA, the first to offer a regulated cloud for government workloads, and the first to have a partner and professional services, which is dedicated to SAP. Adding to that, we are the first to provide industry-leading storage throughput, which is an paramount when you want to optimize the traditional databases, basically the non-HANA databases like MS SQL, SAP's AAC, that is Sybase, or DB2, etc., etc. With the help of this vast experience in hosting this SAP workloads and continuous feedback from customer, we were able to achieve all these milestones which you are seeing in the screen currently, and we are still continuing the same to get the better benefits for our customers. Moving on, we have a strong AWS and SAP alliance and the history of collaboration and rapid innovation. So AWS has the longest experience running SAP solutions on the cloud, and 11-year relationship of collaboration and innovation to enable customers to accelerate their digital transformations. And SAP has been an AWS customer. SAP themselves been an AWS customer since 2008. We'll see the list of products hosted for SAP in a while. And SAP certified AWS since early 2011 and supported for all the SAP deployments. So moving on to continue talk about the relationship which we have with SAP for the SAP and AWS partnering for cloud innovation. So our relationship with SAP extends beyond infrastructure as a service and instant certification. For some time now, SAP has been one of our biggest customers and leverages AWS to power its future innovations and current product offerings. This includes the talk of the topic today, that is RISE with SAP, and also the SaaS solutions like SAP Concur, the other solutions like Qualtrics, SAP SuccessFactors, etc., etc. So we have been co-innovating with SAP for different offerings. So few of them I would like to highlight here. The most important one is the SAP IoT Core Integration. SAP and AWS work together to enable the native AWS IoT Core integration directly into the SAP IoT Core, enabling a more secure and direct exchange of IoT data. And SAP Data Custodian for AWS, this is primarily for the customer with the GDPR or other regulatory concerns. SAP now has an offering that secures the SAP data as it flows to and from SAP and AWS environment. And the next innovation and the product which I wanted to talk about is the SAP C4 service and the AWS Connect integration. So this service, primarily provides customers with a more effective way to handle service calls and orders. So this is a recent offering from SAP. And on top of it, SAP themselves are running their products on AWS, and all of these systems which you're seeing on the right side here, these are running exclusively on AWS, or we have a significant presence in all these products which are running. Without much delay, I'll move on to the core topic for the day. But before to that, I just wanted to quickly cover a key topic before we get into the why RISE with SAP for AWS topic. So we have a core concept of region and availability zone. I'll take a minute to explain what it is and how it is helping the customers to achieve their desired RTO and RPOs. So AWS has a concept of a region, which is a physical location around the world where we cluster the data centers. So within a region, we call each group of logical data centers as an availability zone. And each region consists of multiple isolated and physically separated availability zones within the geographic area. So unlike other cloud providers who often define a region as a single data center, the multiple availability zone design of every AWS region offers advantages for customers. So each AZ has, that is AZ is availability zone, has independent power, cooling, and physical security, and it is connected via redundant ultra low latency networks. AWS customers focused on high availability can design their applications to run in multi-availability zones to achieve even greater fault tolerance. So all the traffic flowing between the availability zone is highly encrypted, and it is a low latency network which can cater up to a single digit millisecond latency. And that capability of providing single digit millisecond latency is helping us helping the customers to achieve the synchronous replication between the availability zones. So with that said, that synchronous replication capability is the reason why AWS can offer an RPO of 0. So which none of the other hyperscalers are providing for RISE customers, which is called a short range DR, and still ensure a distance of several kilometers between each other. So recently we got certified for long range DR as well. And since the other region, which is already announced, that is Hyderabad for AWS, is yet to be operational, which is expected to be anytime next year. So once that region is available, we would be able to see the long range DR also in India region. Nevertheless, we got the certification globally for including the long range DR as part of the RISE offering in AWS platform. So in India, we have Mumbai region with 3 availability zones, and another region, as I mentioned already, is planned to be live by next year. So now we come to the core topic for the day: why RISE with SAP on AWS. So I'm happy to share that many customers have already chosen AWS as the preferred hyperscaler for hosting their systems as part of the RISE with SAP globally. And here we are seeing some of the reasons we have grouped together into a bucket. And because of these reasons, they have chose AWS as the platform of their choice. So the number one, the first and foremost, is the experience. As we have seen in the initial slides, so AWS has been supporting SAP customers since 2011, and today we have more than 5,000 plus active SAP customers. And AWS has had the highest ranking in completeness of vision and ability to execute in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Cloud Infrastructure and Platform Services 10 years in a row. And the ISG Provider Lens Global Quadrant Report for SAP HANA Infrastructure Services 3 years in a row. And because of these vast experiences and the large customer base, customers trust us and choosing AWS as the preferred hyperscalers. The next reason why customers choosing us is primarily for the reliability. So as we have just saw the region and availability zone concept, we have a global footprint with 81 availability zones and 25 geographical regions. And AWS regions provide multiple physically separated, isolated availability zones. As I mentioned previously, it is with a low latency network and with which a customer can achieve the 0 RPO for their reliability setup of their SAP system. So it would be a combined DC-DR setup for them without looking for a higher RPO from a number perspective. And AWS has the track record of longest uptime among the major cloud providers. And another important factor is near zero downtime storage changes. That is, when you want to increase or scale up your storage as and when it is required, you don't need to bring down your SAP systems. Rather, you just add the storage, required storage on the fly, that too in the scale of 1 GB, starting from 1 GB. You don't need to reserve more sizes for your utilization for the future. And another bucket which we are seeing why customers are choosing is primarily for the performance. Our new innovation, the Nitro systems, delivers practically all of the compute and memory resources of the host hardware to your instances, that is the VMs, resulting in better overall performance. And I will talk about the Nitro systems in a while, but for now, we can stick to that. We have a Nitro system which is catering to the high performing VM instances, which is equivalent to your bare metal performance for all your HANA systems. And last is the partner ecosystem. AWS has the deepest and broadest partner ecosystem with over 150 SAP technologies and ISVs and GSI partners providing end-to-end migration and transformation solutions. And I'm happy to say that AWS is the only provider with professional services practice, which is developing and providing best practices for hosting our SAP workloads in AWS environments and helping customers migrating SAP to the cloud. They not only does the above said things, whatever I have mentioned, but they are also developing tools for your operational excellence, and it is available for the customers on their request. So we from AWS excited to be partner with SAP on this new offering, Rise with SAP. And apart from the benefits which Pushkar already explained, what are all the additional benefits you will get when you host your SAP workloads in AWS as part of the Rise? So that's what we will be seeing in the next few slides. So the security and the compliance. So AWS supports more security standards and compliance certifications than any other offering, including the PCI DSS, the ISOs, the CIS, and etc. etc. So we have 203 significant compliances, governance, and security in certification, and that's about 40 more than the next largest provider. We have around 117 services that have encryption, and that is 3x more than the next closest provider, and 47 more than the 3 providers after that. So most importantly, all our AWS cloud services are audited by STQC and empaneled with MITRE. Moving on, as I previously mentioned, just wanted to quickly talk about the Nitro system, how it is benefiting when you choose AWS as the preferred partner for hosting your SAP workloads. So one of the core support and certification items is passing the SAP HANA's hardware configuration tool benchmark. So for those who doesn't know what it is, in a nutshell, this is a benchmark which lets customers know that the hardware they are building the systems on is configured in such a way that the HANA performance can run as designed. So we announced a key innovation at AWS reInvent program last year, December. That innovation was years in the making, and the end result is what we call it as Nitro systems. It is a lightweight silicon-based device handling system, which gave us the capability to have a bare metal performance and management with the same EC2 API experience customers so far grown to love on the virtual machines. So this set us up to be able to deliver some of the innovations on the flat 100 gigabits networking, and the NVMe storages, and explosion of new customized instant types to match the customer specific use cases. So one of those instance type was our U-class high memory instances, HANA instances, and customers can launch HANA servers up to 24 terabyte of memory in a single instance, which is twice the scale-up capacity of any software-defined cloud-native instance. So this single instance can push nearly 500,000 SAPs, which is SAP standardized performance metrics, all on its own. So what does Nitro mean for you? So scalability and flexibility as you move from 256 GB HANA instances up to the 24 terabyte instances, and it seamlessly integrates with the wider AWS services, that is the native services available, and it is more secure, No physical intervention is allowed for these Nitro systems. It's more secure. And the speed, the ability to provision the high memory HANA instances in under 1 hour, including the installation of SAP HANA. So the other benefit which you will be able to get from the Nitro instances is all our HANA instances which you are seeing in this slide, predominantly uses this Nitro systems, and you can think about scaling from 256 GB of HANA instance, that is the starting instance, and up to you can run a 24 terabyte HANA instance. So if you are talking about the S4 HANA, the maximum in a single instance, single VM deployment model, you can install S4 HANA system up to 24 terabyte. And if the same is the case to be installed in a scale out model, it will be 48 terabytes. Similarly, for BW on HANA and BW for HANA or data mart systems, so on a scale out deployment model, it can be scale out up to 100 terabytes using the specific instances. Now, here comes the additional benefit which as a customer you will get for choosing the AWS as the preferred hyperscaler. So all our SAP on AWS customers are using a clean core plus AWS model to enable their digital transformation. So why is that clean core model is recommended? So based on the experience we had in the past, so the customers and the partners now acknowledge that over customization of the core ERP system has made it very difficult to connect and integrate with other applications, the data sources, and more difficult to adapt to the changing business needs. So instead of customizing at the application level, now customers are thinking and keeping the core clean and differentiating at a higher level by integrating with the AWS services either natively or via the SAP's cloud platform. As you can see in the screen, the infrastructure forms the basic foundation, and customers are heading to the cloud as the new normal and proven infrastructure as a service that is secure, global, and is the foundational starting point. And on top of it, you're seeing the application layer where we are keeping our core clean, and that is where you will deploy your S4 HANA systems or BW HANA systems or other different core components in your entire landscape. So the differentiation will come, this is where the customer leverage the AWS space of innovation to complement and extend their SAP and other non-SAP systems. So all you get is your data, from both from the SAP and non-SAP systems, and you do all your digital innovations and other things on top of it using the native AWS services and keeping your core clean. Now that we discussed, SAP systems can be integrated with AWS services, and this slide brings us the integration options to the AWS services. So while we see the other non-RISE setup also, we will be primarily focusing on the RISE with SAP setup here. And independent from how and where your SAP system is running, customer can benefit from and integrate with the AWS services for our analytics, for our AML capabilities and IoTs. Customer have different options on how to integrate with these services and capabilities. So primarily, all these services are available natively on AWS, and you have the RISE with SAP systems for SAP. And how do we integrate these two entities together? So that is where our other native services come into picture. So we have certain services called AWS Glue or AWS Lambda. Is a serverless integration service that makes it easier to discover, prepare, and combine data for analytics, machine learning, and application development. Similarly, AWS Lambda is a serverless compute service that will, lets you run your code without provisioning or managing service creating workload aware cluster, and maintaining event integrations and managing runtimes. So both these services are serverless data integration services with which you can pull all your data from your SAP systems, and then you can leverage that to the native AWS service. And that is where you will be able to achieve that clean core plus AWS model, as most of our customers are using currently. The second option the customers have is via the SAP Integration Suite or SAP Data Intelligence. Both these services are available as part of the SAP BTP platform, and it will allow you to integrate the SAP systems with the native AWS services. For example, in SAP Data Intelligence, customers can define simple and complex data flow graphs and leverage an Amazon S3 bucket as the data collection step before running the glue job. The third option, of course, you can use the third-party tools available in our marketplace, AWS marketplace. For example, you can use the Click, the MuleSoft, the Cloud Elements, etc., to do this type of integration, so that you get the maximum benefit. Not only from the RISE with SAP, but also leveraging the native AWS services for driving your business. And all of these three options, what it does to you is ability to synthesize the SAP and also non-SAP data on one platform like Data Lake, as I mentioned previously, and then leverage this data, combine it with other data sources to run the services which you're seeing at the right, analytics, AI, ML, or IoT. So the goal is to get the most out of your data and make it available to the right resources in our customers' organization to support the data-driven decisions and serve their customers or employees better and create new business capabilities. With that, I move on to the next section, which is primarily, how to connect if, we are the previous core, whatever we have seen. So how to connect those RISE with SAP account and your native AWS services account together. So for RISE customers, it is also important to connect SAP systems and their data with the native AWS services. So they have two options. One is Vpc Peering. Vpc Peering connection is a networking connection between two VPCs that enables you to route traffic between them using a private IPv4 address or IPv6 addresses. Instances in either VPC can connect with each other as if they are within the same network. You can create a VPC peering connection between your own VPCs or VPC in another AWS account. So that is exactly where you will be able to create a peering connection from your account to the RISE with SAP account. So VPC peering is a simple possibility to connect a customer's RISE account VPC to their AWS account VPC. This setting, I think you can request it from SAP, the details for the SAP's accounts. And once the details are received, you can set up the peering on your own. The next type of connectivity you can establish is the second option is using the AWS Transit Gateway. The Transit Gateway acts as a regional virtual router for your entire traffic flowing between your VPC and VPN connections. So the advantage, what you get is it scales elastically based on the traffic, whatever you receive. And, it comes with a default route table. And to connect the SAP managed RISE account, to the customer's own AWS account, you have to define a AWS Transit Gateway in your own AWS account first and configure it for access to your SAP RISE account. So this creates a network connection for your data exchange, and AWS Transit Gateway can also be used for VPN or AWS Direct Connect towards the customer's own data center, as you are seeing here in the right. So with that, we reached to the end of the presentation for the day. So I hope you get a high-level overview of what it means for you to choose AWS as the preferred hyperscaler for hosting your RISE with SAP engagements. And with that, a big thank you for all of you who have already attended this session. And Harshal, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh Palani, Senior Partner Solution Architect, SAP AWS. I also thank Mr. Raja Mishra, Director Public Services, SAP, and Mr. Pushkar Bhatt, Business Development Lead, SAP Digital Core, SAP India Subcontinent. Thanks to all the esteemed key speakers for taking time out today. And I'm sure people who are watching us live must have, they have listened to you, and there will be questions also from them, which we'll be taking. So SAP, of course, as we all heard, has a long history of implementing simpler and more efficient workflows into its products. And if I understood correctly, RISE with SAP offers a holistic, on your terms and on your timeline transformation to an enterprise. So you can remove complexity with the simplified engagement. And it also offers its customer a faster time to premier value and the flexibility that they need without high upfront investment. So thanks to all the, once again, on from Elets Technomedia Private Limited, I thank all the esteemed panelists. We have there are questions also from team, from the people who are watching us right now on this platform, and I like to request you. May please request you all to please switch on your camera, Mr. Palani, Mr. Mishra. Yeah. So
you answered some of the questions online.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that some of the questions has have been answered by Mr. Pushkar Bhatt. But then there is one question I think I'd like to ask to Mr. Suresh Palani. There's one question that in India, at how many locations DC of AWS are available, and how many state government have approved AWS DC services?
So if I understand correctly, the first question is how many DCs, data centers?
Data centers, right? That's right.
Okay. So basically, we have multiple availability zones, and each availability zones has multiple data centers. So we don't disclose those number, but we have a redundant and resilient data centers available for all the Mumbai region.
Right. And another questions, I mean, quite similar. How many public sector, energy sector, public sector undertakings from energy sector are on AWS?
So there are multiple energy sector customers available. I don't have the number on top of my mind, but we do have a large number of customers who are already in AWS, especially in India. Okay.
Great. And there were a few questions which Mr. Pushkar Bhatt has already written in a comment, and in a black and white he has replied to the audience. But I would request you, Mr. Pushkar Bhatt, if you can please share some thought on this. Can RISE with SAP be offered as a tailored solution based on specific requirements of a public sector undertaking, or there is a fixed solution with some add-ons?
So I think the beauty about RISE with SAP is that it is a flexible mechanism whereby we can meet the specific requirements of our customers. Customers do have different requirements. Some of them are security related, others are related to availability. Still others, are related to the solutions that they want to mix and match. Correct. And we within SAP have essentially ensured that we stick to our motto that transformation at your terms and your timelines. So we have been flexible with customers in terms of accommodating, some of these requirements. Wherever there was a business imperative, we've gone the extra mile in terms of ensuring that we deliver on this.
Right. Would like to take 2 minutes of yours more. How can PSUs leverage SAP Launchpad, and in what ways will it help the government in scaling up its business? Last question that we can.
Okay, so I will say that the Launchpad is nothing else but a service which makes it simpler for users to interact with SAP, the core ERP, and get their job done, right?
Right.
And so it's a UX in a way. It's a user interface for customers to go ahead and leverage. It's available to all of the customers who deploy within RISE. So there is no constraint on that. When it comes to going ahead and improving or increasing the I would say efficiency of the business when it comes to increasing your output, your production, I think a lot of that has got to do with the category or the class of processes that you go ahead and deploy. And what SAP has gone ahead and done is that really focused on not only the last generation of best practices where we had invested into, correct? But we are also today in line with the expectations, investing into the next practices as we go ahead and call it. And India as a country has been, I would say leapfrogging on the digital initiative. Day before yesterday, Mr. Anand Mahindra, tweeted about a fortune telling bull who had a QR code and you could transfer UPI money, through that. So I think with a bank account with every Indian, digital identity with every Indian, COVID, I would say Arogya Setu QR code with every Indian, digitization is becoming part of our DNA. SAP has been investing into what the government calls as the India stack. Okay. So we have been going over and beyond to ensure that we put in the engineering resources to integrate into that, make the entire business of doing business within India a lot smoother. Okay. And this reflects in not only the way we helped our customers adopt GST, but also how we have helped our customers integrate with e-invoicing solutions. And today we are taking it, multiple steps further. So you can trust SAP to invest ahead of the curve when it comes to India specific initiatives. We are, I can say very proudly that a large part of SAP is Indian. Okay. Even as we celebrate 25 years, we have, I think, the largest number of employees after Germany in India. Okay. So there is a very strong footprint. There is a strong commitment. And I think India has given us a lot and we will continue to over-invest into this country.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Pushkar Bhatt. And before we give away the certificates to all our eminent speakers, I'd like to request Mr. Raja Mishra also, if you would like to add on and you'd like to comment also. Any message from you, Mr. Raja Mishra?
Yeah, thanks, Harshal. No, I think Pushkar has covered and Suresh has also covered a lot of it. I think the idea today is our customers who have been able to join today's session. We thought that it will be a good informative session for them because, that old concept of SAP being costly, SAP being a heavy resource application is really going to change with this new offering that SAP has brought in, correct? So all of you who are thinking about going for SAP, some of you are joint ventures and affiliates of the public sector, larger public sector companies, correct? If you want to come out of it, if you're thinking of coming out and having an independent ERP setup, we are there to support you. And you all have Pushkar's email ID. If you have any questions, you can write back to us. And I will request Pushkar, maybe if you can show your email ID once more before we close up this session.
Yes, that will be great. And even then, I'd like to request all the delegates who are currently watching us live, and probably you would be watching the program when we are not live on social media platform. So you can always get in touch with Elets team also, and we will be more than happy to connect you with SAP team member. However, for your kind reference, we are once again have the email address on the screen. I request everyone to please note it down. Uh, and you may be, we will be happy if you can directly can get in touch with Mr. Pushkar Bhatt and team, or you can write to Elets team also. Mr. Pushkar Bhatt from SAP India Private Limited, pushkar.bhatt@sap.com. That's the email address. Thank you. And once again, I thank all the people who have joined us for taking time out from their busy schedule and attending our program live today. And I request my team now to present the token of gratitude to our speakers. I request my team to please put the certificate on the screen. Token of gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Raja Mishra, once again, Director, Public Services, SAP, for imparting your rich insight and experience at Rise
Thank
with.
you, Harshal. Thank you.
Thank you. To Mr. Pushkar Bhatt, Business Development Lead, SAP Digital Core, SAP India Subcontinent. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhatt, once again.
Thank you, Harshal.
And I must say it was a wonderful presentation by you and by Mr. Suresh Palani also. Thank you so much, Mr. Palani, Senior Partner Solution Architect, AWS. Thank you so much for joining us today. And it was, again, a wonderful presentation by you. And I hope and I believe that audience and delegates must have learned several things, and they will be getting in touch with you again with other questions. And this is now I'd like to announce closing of this session formally. Once again, thanks to esteemed speakers and thanks to our delegates.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
everyone.